Hello, everybody. I'm sorry I had some technical difficulties, um, but we want to jump right in. I apologize for being late. And this is the discussion of the FEMA application, and so I want to make sure that I go through it, and so that you know, whenever whenever a national disaster happens, it's the responsibility of those local officials, whether city, county, state, whatever, to actually say or declare it a national emergency or claim that it's a disaster. Once they claim that it's a disaster, then it gives them access to federal involvement, which is federal money. And the leading agency for that is the Federal Emergency Management Agency, or FEMA. And FEMA is one of the first agencies primarily that's responsible for emergency management. So that's hurricanes, tornadoes, storms, any of that stuff that happens. And today I'm going to go through the application, but just so that you know, in case you have limited cell service, limited access to the internet, you can also call their phone number. Their number is 800-621-3362. 800-621-3362. Now, when you're going through this, when you're going through the number, they're going to ask you some personal information about your address. When they ask your address, they're trying to locate or connect you with one of the national disasters. There are things that's happening all around the country. And when they ask your address, they want to know if you're in one of those areas where the national disaster happened. The other thing that at some point they're going to ask you for your social security number. Their goal is to take you from the beginning to end in this phone call. So they can do the whole application on the phone, or you can do it online. I'm going to go through the application online. All right. So the first thing that you want to do is go to disaster assistance. Let me share my screen. Go to disasterassistance.gov. When you go to disasterassistance.gov, that's going to bring you to the main page. And from there, you can go to other places. I'm going to show you what the page looks like. All right. So this is the page. If you've already started application, you might just want to check your status here. If you're just curious about the process, then you can click and see here. All right. There's a process. Disaster is declared, and then you find out if you can apply. Create an account on login.gov, gather your personal information, fill out the application, and then review and send your application. They're moving pretty quickly. So you don't have to really worry about it taking a long time, but you do have to get started. All right. Now, oftentimes the people that are most vulnerable, the most poor, are the most challenged. The people with the most challenges, the most barriers, do not get the help they need simply because they don't even know about this website. They don't know how to get the help. And then the ones that do, they might feel uncomfortable or nervous. You don't have to be nervous. If you just call the phone number, 1-800-621-3362, somebody will answer and they'll be there to help you. But if you're comfortable doing it online, you can just go here and click, let's get started. They'll check to see if you're a robot, and then they're going to ask you some questions. They ask the zip code. This is the zip code of my coffee shop, or you can put in state and city. After that, they're going to identify the storm. We're in Storm Helene. All right. Buncombe County, they're identified. Now, if you're going after individual assistance, this is what you need to know. Business losses, this is what you need. Unemployment here. It's important that you apply for everything. You don't have to accept everything, but you do want to apply. So they ask, what assistance do you need? I'm going to click everything so that you can see what comes up, but only click the things that you need. All right. I'm clicking everything because it's going to ask you questions about everything that you click. I don't want you to be nervous. All right. You say you have funeral or reburial expenses. That's getting somebody buried or reburied because maybe because of the storm or the natural disaster, bodies were unburied. All right. So I don't need that. You said you had dental expenses. Do you have medical expenses? And medical expenses is anything like, because you were displaced, did you need to spend money on medical stuff? Loss or damages, expenses for injury or illness, pre-existing injury, disability, medical, replacement, prescribed medicines. Actually, I did. I had to replace all of my medicines. It cost a few $100s. Loss or injury of service animal, any of that. Did you have dental expenses? I did not. You say you have personal property damage. This, for me, it was my primary home. For some people, it might be your vacation or your secondary home. You say you had childcare expenses. I didn't. All right. You say you had home safety item costs. All right. These are things to keep your home safe after disaster, like a dehumidifier, a chainsaw to clear the stuff. All right. Before we move on, let's review the needs you chose. These are the things I said I needed. It is correct. Then they go to next. I selected Tropical Storm Helene. So this is the date that's official. This is when the storm started. Whether or not this is the worst day of your experience, this is just the date that the disaster started. They're going to ask you to confirm, and you do that there. All right, so now they ask you the type of damage. For mine, it was flood. Now you have to create an online account. They're going to have you create an online account at login.gov. Once you do that, they're going to ask you to verify your email. What I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and log in. Okay. Now, whenever you set this up, they're going to give you a bunch of verifications. One, they're going to verify your email. After they verify your email, then they're going to verify a secondary device. For most people, that's their cell phone. All right. So these are things they're going to ask you about this information: social security number, annual household income, contact information, insurance information, bank account information. They're going to ask you all that because social security number, make sure you're a citizen. Annual household income, checking your income before you deduct anything. Contact information, so they can get in touch with you and place you. Insurance information, because FEMA will not compete with insurance. But if you don't have insurance, you can still come back. If you don't have your insurance handy, you can come back and add it later. If you have insurance or not, you can still fill out the application. Your bank account information is so that they can deposit into your account. All right. They're going to ask you different information. It looks like some of my stuff is completed, some of it is not. My essential utilities are not complete. And if you're helping somebody else, then you can apply there. All right. So this is the information. Now, what I'm getting ready to do is go to the business application. So all that is the personal side. I'm going to show you the business side. You can actually apply for both, and you should apply for both your business and your personal. When you apply for the business, I'm going to show you what you're going to see. All right. This is the first screen you'll see. Once you click on business, it'll take you to the SBA, and they're going to offer you two different options. One is a disaster home loan application. The other is disaster business loan application. All right. I chose business. They're going to ask you your business entity type. All right. So don't be confused. It looks like a lot of options, but if you have an LLC, it's right there. If you have something else, then choose that something else. All right. They ask you what's on your tax return. What return do you fill out? Lots of people that are in business fill out the 1040. And so that becomes the only option, your social security number. All right. Next, disclosure and procedures. This is a lot of words, but it's just telling you what to expect. All right. Now, you'll notice that there's a little red button down at the bottom right-hand corner of each screen that saves your progress and calls you to move on. Next, they ask what was damaged. Check all that applies. So the structure was damaged, the furniture was damaged, if you had transportation, cars, whatever that was damaged. Loss of working capital is if you lost customers, had to close, lost revenue, etc., lost supplies, inventory, any of these things that you lost, you click that button. All right. Next, they're going to ask you for your address. If you have one business but more than one address, they're going to allow you to add locations. I have one business, but I have two locations, two buildings. One is on Depot Street, one's at River Arts. And so they were there. It doesn't matter whether you own or lease. Just tell them because they ask. All right, disaster declaration here. They're saying that they're identifying that your property was damaged at which locations, and then they ask you about your business. So you put your name of your business. If you have a DBA, you put that. But if you are when you get to this part, they want your NAICS code. If you don't know it by heart, then there's a guide you can just click and it'll tell you your NAICS code. When they ask how many employees did you have at the time of the disaster, they don't care whether it's full-time or part-time, but go ahead and list the number of employees. They ask for your state. It's already pre-populated most of the time. But when it gets to the date that you established or acquired, you want to go ahead and put the date. That comes from your state corporation document. All right. Then your primary business address. Next screen, they'll ask for the owners. They're going to ask for your social security number and for any owner that owns 20% or more of the business. All right. The next thing, they're going to ask you for your insurance coverage. So get your policy number and go ahead and put that in. The next thing they're going to ask is about your background and delinquency. Do not get uptight about this. Just go through and answer the questions. If you get nervous, if you have questions, then call the number. All right. Here are the questions. Have you filed bankruptcy in the past 2 years? Answer is yes or no. Do you have outstanding judgments, tax liens, or pending lawsuits against them? Answer yes or no. Currently incarcerated, served a sentence of imprisonment, imposed adjudication of guilty. Yes or no. In the past year, have you been convicted of a crime, criminal offense committed during a connection with a riot or a civil disorder? Or have been engaged in production or distribution of a product or service that has been determined obscene? Are you currently more than 60 days late on paying any child support obligations? Currently suspended or debarred from contracting with federal government? So none of these questions are automatic disqualification. But if you had to answer yes to any of them, for example, outstanding judgment, I have an outstanding judgment. And so I owe $1.5 million in a judgment based on my restitution. So I described it here and they still gave me the support I needed. So there's some people that get nervous about the questions and start to disqualify themselves. Do not do that. Answer the questions and then proceed. If you need any help, you don't have to wait for the next session. You can reach out to me if you want. But if you need any help, please call the number 1-800-621-3362. Get the help you need. Y'all take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. Again, this is Jay Hackett with Black Wall Street, helping you fill out the FEMA application during this time of the disaster. Y'all, bye-bye.